Yo, what's good? What's good? Welcome to another episode of Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. So, a lot of thoughts with the recent passing of Biz Markie. So, it's another one that's passed away, and he was like 57 or something like that. So, got me thinking. You know, the year didn't start well with finding out that MF Doom passed away, and then we got to we're already still reeling from Nipsey Hussle and and some others, and now we got to DMX, and now we're also at Biz Markie. So maybe started to think about who are like 10 MCs still alive. um and I'm not saying that they're the best MCs. I'm not saying it's my greatest list of all time. Um, but it really made me take a second and step back and realize that we need to give these guys their flowers now. And I know that's been a phrase. Some people like it, some people don't. I am totally okay with it, so I'm using it, and that's that. But um, and I'm trying to pick particular MCs, but you're going to hear me cheating in a little bit, and I'm being honest with you all. But let's just think of some people that need, you know, need some love, need some shout outs based on who they are and what they've done and so forth. So, first, I got a couple honorable mentions right now. So I got three that I will give you. I will give you the entire Wu Tang Clan. And yes, you hear me cheat because I could have put two or three of them easy on the list, but I'm going to give you the entire Wu Tang Clan. I will give you Royce the 5'9", and I will give you Kendrick Lamar. So Kendrick, we've talked lots about on a previous episode. So where is he? We need more material. He's running his own label with his own artists. So do we get any more Kendrick stuff? Don't know. Royce is one of the greatest MCs of all time lyrically. If you listened, he's actually got a podcast now with Lupe. There was a little bit of tension that there happened earlier this week, and maybe I'll get into this on a future episode when I hear more of what's going on with the two of them. But Royce definitely needs his flowers on how LA Leakers. There's that freestyle. They're still reeling from him how good he was. And then Wu Tang is obviously been such a cultural change in the early '90s of call it super groups and how we do things and just so much. I really think I can't have a list without highlighting them. So I'm going to give you 10. There's other ones, but 10 that come to mind for me that we need to recognize, highlight of how amazing they are. And although some are more known than others, I don't think they've gotten what they've deserved. So let me in my podcast form tip my hat to the following 10. So first up on the list is Cool G Rap. You know, Cool G Rap was out in the mid '80s. He was part of the Juice Crew. Has done some amazing things lyrically, rhyme style. Like I think your favorite rapper was probably influenced by Koji Rap. He's influenced Eminem, he's influenced Redman, he's influenced Nas, he's influenced so many different people. Um, and that is obviously turned to the next generation. So style and delivery, geez, he's even influenced these guys like Kane and Master Ace that were in the Juice Crew. So hats off to Coogee Rap. You do not get enough respect. You've done some great projects. Um, you really have changed the game on how emceeing happened. I think without Kane and Rakim and Cool Rap, along with Chuck D and Ice Cube, I don't think the golden era would have shaped the way that it did. So hats off to Cool Rap, your first one on my list. Next one, love him or hate him, you have to give respect to the lyrical prowess that Eminem is. And geez, like, we've heard, Eminem's drug problems. You've seen the success with Grammy Awards. You've seen movie success. You've seen him being an actor. But, you know, just seeing what's happened with Biz Markie, like Eminem could be here today and something could happen, drug induced, alcohol induced, violence. Like there's just so many things in this world that can happen to a person. He's got so many haters out there anyways that someone just could do something like they did to Tupac and Biggie, and that's it. So, Eminem, I wouldn't say you've been the champion for, Caucasian or white rappers, but you've just been an amazing MC, and MC is about spitting those rhymes. And for that, you should be commended and respected, and hats off to you. So next up on my list, I think I said his name already, Ice Cube. Um, I know he's part of MWA. He's been an actor. He's heavily involved in the big three. Like he just three random things. Had an amazing solo career that continues over the span of almost 3 decades now. Um, some of the most memorable albums with America's Most Wanted and Death Certificate, on a solo front, was part of West Side Connection. Like the list is endless, and if you just don't stop and look, like this guy is incredible. Like for those that don't know, like he penned like the whole NWA saga, like penned all of Eazy's lyrics and all of and some of Dre's lyrics on top of his own, and probably helped Ren. So like he is an absolute icon when it comes to hip hop. And if we're not careful, we're gonna forget um, him in general. Next up, I have on my list is LL Cool J. Um, LL's been doing this since like 85, 86. An absolute icon. He's changed with the times from um, bigger and differ to radio to fighting with cannabis on wax, to having all the ladies love him, and maybe that's happened throughout all of time. But he is one of the most amazing people. He's got an acting career. He's got so many things going for him. He's got his own station on Sirius Radio. But take some time and like when you come back to the root of LL Cool J, uh, he is a ferocious MC and definitely deserves some love. Next up on my list is Jay Z. Everything that's Jay Z is incredible. So from him as an artist and how he evolved and got to his place now, hey, he's got beef with one of my favorite MCs, and whether that's beef or it's gone or whatever, they're grown like with Nas. But Jay Z, you have to give Jay Z respect, you know, on being a businessman, being an MC, you know, his ability to not even but pen or write lyrics in his head and spit them once and it's done. That is a skill like that very, very few have. And his ability through time to create so many memorable projects. I think still Reasonable Doubt and the Black Album being my favorite, are his two best projects. But he has changed with the time. And like if you talk about being a chameleon and ultimately being left behind if you don't evolve, that's not Jay Z. Jay Z's been one of those that's evolved constantly throughout time and has been absolutely amazing. So, love him or hate him. And sometimes I don't like him on some days. And sometimes I got to say, like, he's just good. He's that nice. So hats off to Jay Z. Next up, I got Black Thought. Black Thought, in still my opinion, is the most underrated MC of all time. From his work with the Roots to Streams of Thought, 1, 2, and 3, Black Thought, lyrically, maybe the best MC currently now on the planet. I don't think since, I'll make up 2009, 2010, somewhere there. I was living in Vancouver at the time. I don't know if there's been an MC better than Black Thought. Period. I think I think it's like an arm wrestle between him and Royce the 5'9", in my personal opinion. I'm wearing actually a Black Thought shirt for those that are just listening to the podcast. But from his time on late night TV, him and the entire Roots crew, to spitting bars with Funk Flex, and those are some of the most memorable freestyles that we saw for minutes on end. Black Thought is an amazing MC, but I don't think we just sit back and you know take in that he is so good. I know recently, it was like 2 years ago or a year ago that we lost Malik B. That was part of the Roots group, and I don't know if we'll ever get another Roots album. I know Black Thought has kind of continued to put out music and do his own thing, but he is an amazing MC, a champion of a lot of good things in life, and he just needs our respect and to be put on that platform that, hey, Black Thought, here are your flowers. You are absolutely incredible. Next up, I don't know if there's an MC that's come out with more records than this person, and that would be KRS-One. KRS-One, I think, is now on album 26. He's been making albums since 1985. So we're talking about, what, 36 years? From Criminal Minded to the KRS-One album to he did the album that he did with Buckshot in the late 2000s. KRS-One is one that's still the test of time. Came up with um, the Temple of Hip Hop for schooling, and it is giving people education on the culture of hip hop. But he's been there since the beginning. He's seen all of these things, and has truly been an amazing impact for multiple generations. Like, I think we're talking 3 and 4 generations that KRS has still been around. It's still produced music and still put out quality material, not just from an emceeing perspective, but to make you think, to make you really take in what he is talking about. So hats off to KRS-One. Definitely one would be on the list. And then these three, no surprise that they're on this list because they continue to remain as my top 3 MCs of all time. First would be Rakim, and not in that order of being my favorites, but I'll just give you the 3. Rakim. So Sins Paid in Full, that was on a previous episode that I had done not too long ago, to some of his own, personal, individual albums after, things kind of broke down with Eric B after 4 amazing albums together. But he continues to be the platinum standard when it comes to emceeing. And again, I mentioned him early with Cool G Rap and Big Daddy Kane, that these guys took, rhyme style and the evolution of how rhymes were spit or spat, to a whole new level, and complexity and wordplay. Really have to give Rakim his flowers. Like, geez, like, I think Rakim had the verse of the year last year on the intro track that we had with Busta Rhymes album. He was absolutely incredible, and it so captured the state of the world. So hats off to Rakim. Number 2, and I just mentioned him, Big Daddy Kane. So when we talk about lyricism, we talk about style, we talk about capturing multiple elements of hip hop, from DJing and definitely b-boying and dancing. There is maybe no cooler person ever in the game of hip hop than Big Daddy Kane. Came up was in the Juice Crew, an absolute ferocious MC. We fast forward, we saw Platinum Plus, the album that was created right around when just before Big L passed away in the late 90s. But he's really again been another one that stood the test of time. And for that, you have to give Big Daddy Kane some flowers. We're seeing more of him now, sharing more of his stories that are out there. There's been a couple of amazing podcasts. One with and I'm blanking on if I think it's whatever. Have you ever heard the story? And they share some of the early segments. Michael Rappaport, I think, is the mastermind behind it. That really has shared some of Big Daddy Kane's stories. So, hats off to Kane, and there's several artists that are worth hundreds of millions. We know Kanye and Jay-Z are worth billions, but I think when we think about it, and he just got a Grammy last year for the best album. Nas cannot be an artist or an MC that we take for granted, from the platinum or the standard above all standards. Five mic, 4 stars, like you name it. Like there's not an album better than or more impactful than Illmatic. And we've seen Nas through the test of time, from It Was Written to Stillmatic to Life Is Good, and now to King's Disease, do amazing things. He's been an amazing businessman, and really grown and developed. And he's had peaks and valleys when it's come to his net worth, but as a true MC, truly embodies it. There was a great piece when he was on Drink Champs, with DJ EFN and Nori. So definitely check that out if you haven't heard that. But hats off to Nas. Continues to be one of the most respected MCs that we have out there. But those would be the 10 MCs plus a couple honorable mentions that are alive, that take a second and give your flowers to, because if they're not here, it would be very sad if any of them left us. And there will come a time that will happen. But we really need to think about what the opportunities are now to, we have so many young aspiring MCs that are doing big things, leading the world in streams. But don't forget about those that have helped bring the culture to this particular point. And many of those were also mentioned in this piece, from Eminem, and partnering with Dre and Aftermath. They created 50, to all the amazing things Jay-Z has done, and then Kane, Rakim, and Nas, truly leading in their own ways. KRS-One has ultimately been one of the elder statesmen that has been out there. So a lot of good stuff there. So for my younger listeners, you haven't heard any of these guys, check them out. For my older listeners, you haven't listened to them in a while, check them out. So again, thanks for another episode of Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. Truly appreciate all your time, and for listening. This is available also on YouTube, so hit the subscribe button. But also you can catch me on Anchor, Google Play, obviously Apple Podcasts, and a variety of other sources if you do that, including Spotify. So thanks again. Enjoy your day, and thanks again for listening.